I've had a sneak peek of the recipe, so I'll be making this tonight, and I'm sure you guys will want to make it as soon as you see it. I want to remind everybody to mute yourself unless you have an urgent question in the bottom left-hand corner. If you have a question or comment, we'd love to see it in the chat. Potentially raise hand if you'd like to ask your question in person, but the chat would be the easiest way to communicate. And we will have time at the end, hopefully, to answer a few questions. And we'll even run a bit over if people don't have another meeting to go to. So I want to introduce everybody to the Plant-Based Foods Association, who helped put together this amazing event. And I will start by turning it over to Jen Jacobs, who is the Pbfa's Retail Partnership Manager. And she'll tell you a little bit more about the Pbfa, and she'll also be facilitating today's program. So thank you.
Thank you, Anne. I'm so excited to be here today, and Pbfa is very grateful for this opportunity to be a part of virtual VegFest and to connect with all of you on the Kroger team. We're excited today to inspire and educate you on the plant-based foods industry. Before we kick off today's event, I wanted to do a very quick introduction of the Plant-Based Foods Association, and we're going to do a very quick PowerPoint. Okay, so Pbfa was launched in early 2016 by our executive director, Michelle Simon, and 22 founding members. Today, the organization has grown to over 170 members, and total membership includes investors and affiliates is over 300. We have companies ranging from consumer packaged food companies to ingredient suppliers, restaurant chains, meal delivery services, and distributors. The logos that you see here are representing our Pbfa board of directors, and Pbfa's mission is to build a strong foundation for the plant-based foods industry and to see it succeed and thrive. The next slide that you'll see here is an example of some of our members representing meat alternatives and dairy alternatives. Our work can be categorized in a few main areas. The first is policy. Pbfa seeks policies that reflect the changing tastes of consumers and support the industry innovation. Some of our ongoing policy work includes labeling laws, plant-based ingredients, as well as dietary guidelines for Americans, and supporting healthy food in schools. Secondly is the marketplace, and we divide this a little bit further into retail partnerships and food service. We work directly with top U.S. retailers and food service professionals. Our common goal is to support our members' growth in education, custom research, shopper marketing, and data analysis. We launched the Certified Plant-Based certification through NSF, our third-party certifier, with clear definitions for meat and dairy alternatives. Below are some member brands who launched, and major retailers are in the process of placing this on their own private labels. So that is Pbfa in a very small nutshell. I'd be happy to answer any questions following today's program, but first I'd love to introduce Miyoko, and we can get the day started with plant-based cooking. I'd like to introduce Miyoko Schinner, the fearless CEO and founder of Miyoko's Creamery. Miyoko is also a well-known activist for veganism, ethical treatment of animals, and a more just food system. Miyoko's Creamery is a registered B Corp, is the maker of dairy products crafted 100% from plants, and was founded on the principle of compassion for animals and eliminating them from food production. In Miyoko's own words, we are a mission that created a company. Under Schinner's visionary leadership, Miyoko's has become one of the fastest growing natural cheese brands in the US, on the shelves of more than 15,000 retailers nationwide and in Canada. Schinner is a founding board member of Pbfa, and we are very thrilled to have her here with us today to prepare a delicious pasta dish with summer veggies and her very own vegan mozz. So to get it started, I'll turn the floor over to you, Miyoko.
Thank you, Jen, and I am so happy to be here. I mean, I wish I were in Cincinnati with all of you, but I am so happy to welcome you into Miyoko's kitchen, my real kitchen at home, not at work. And I'm in the middle of summer. All of us are. We're hot. I bet some of us have gardens with bountiful crop loads of beautiful zucchini and vegetables. And I want to show you how to use some of them in a very simple, summery pasta dish that features zucchini, eggplant, tomatoes from your garden, and our vegan mozz. This is a cultured product. We make it out of cashews and we inoculate it just like dairy cheese is inoculated with dairy cultures and undergoes a fermentation process. And then we actually form it just like cheese. So this is sort of cheese. It's just made from plants. And we're going to put this into a lovely pasta dish that comes together in about 15 minutes because that's the amount of time I have given today. So we're going to start right now. I've got about 3 cups of beautiful cherry tomatoes we're going to put on a sheet pan. And we're going to roast these in the oven for about 15 minutes. And I'm going to sprinkle them with a little bit of olive oil, a good dose of sea salt, and of course, every good pasta dish needs garlic. So we're going to put some garlic in it. And how do I do my garlic? I'm going to show you right now. All right. So here's my bowl of garlic. And this is my garlic rock. So meet my garlic rock. And I like to smash my garlic. It's one way to get your frustrations out, but it's also a great way to peel your garlic. So all you have to do is go down to the river, you've got one there, and find yourself that perfect garlic rock. And then you just smash away and the skin slips right off. And not only that, but you've now crushed the garlic, releasing their flavor so you don't have to do all that tedious chopping, just making it so much easier to deal with, especially when you're dealing with loads and loads of garlic like this dish, because we want to use that entire bowl to flavor those tomatoes and make them taste so delicious. Okay, so we're going to do that. Look how quickly I can peel all of this as long as I smash away. Now, of course, you can use the blade of a knife, but it's a little more dangerous. So if you can find a rock down by the river, by the Ohio River, then you're in business. All right, so that's my entire bowl of garlic that I was able to peel in about 15 seconds. Now I'm going to throw this into my tomatoes like this. And I've got some rosemary from the garden. I'm going to just put some sprigs on there, and we're going to pop this into the oven for about 15 minutes. I have the oven heated to 450 degrees. It's super, super hot because what I want to do with them is kind of blacken them just like that, okay? And that's going to be part of the sauce that we're going to use later. So I'm going to set these aside for right now. And now we're going to turn to our vegetables. We're going to grill our vegetables, eggplant and zucchini. And I've got this stovetop griddle ready to go. But of course, you can do this outside on your barbecue as well. Let me just clean this up for a second. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is take slices of eggplant and zucchini and dip them in a quick bath of olive oil and balsamic vinegar with a little bit of salt. And we're going to grill them until we have these beautiful grill marks like you can see right here. I did some ahead of time because I wasn't sure how much time I would have to do this. So I'm going to start out with about 4 tablespoons of olive oil, extra virgin, and about 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. So it's like a 50% ratio of balsamic vinegar, and then a good sprinkling of kosher salt. You can use sea salt as well. And we're just going to mix that up really quickly and then just start dipping our eggplant and zucchini in it. And then we're going to put it on a hot grill. So you want to make sure that your grill is piping hot when you put these on here. So you can hear that wonderful sizzle. And it's going to get smoky in here, so I'm going to turn the fan on. Let me get that fan on there. Otherwise, the smoke alarm will go off, and we certainly don't want that in the middle of this quick cooking demo. All right, so we'll get these going there. And I've grilled up a bunch of them already. So we're just going to do half and half zucchini and eggplant. But seriously, this dish is so fast to come together. It's a great weeknight option. And if you're really, really a fast cook, you can pull this whole dish together in the time it takes to boil a pot of pasta. All right, so I've got my zucchini. And what makes this dish really interesting is that we're going to melt the mozzarella into the sauce. That's going to be part of the sauce along with the pasta cooking water and what's left of this balsamic vinegar marinade, which is going to give it a little bit of that acid that we're looking for in the summertime when it's hot You don't want something that's too rich or creamy. You want to have a little bit of acid just to sort of stimulate your appetite. So let me get, this one is, there we go. And now we've got summertime and the grilling is easy. Eggplants on the grill, zucchini sizzling away. Make sure you get those nice grill marks. We're getting there, yes we are. All right, so let's get our appetites going. All right, that's a little version of George Gershwin's Summertime. Not quite the lyrics he was thinking of, but anyway, kind of how I roll. This has to go on for a few minutes. You know, now it's time to throw the pasta in. And I've got a pot of hot water here ready to go. And I'm going to use a really, really nice linguine because I just gotten to a point from having gone to Italy so many times. When I eat pasta, I want a really good pasta. I want a pasta that's going to maintain that texture, that al dente consistency throughout, you know, to the very, very last bite. I don't want it to get mushy at all. So I don't eat pasta every day, but when I do eat pasta, I want to make sure that I spend another, another dollar or so just to get that really, really great quality stuff. So this is really good quality vegan pasta. I'm throwing it in here. This is linguine, but you can use tagliatelle, which is a little bit thicker. You can use fettuccine. You can use spaghetti. Feel free to use any kind of pasta you want. So it doesn't have to be exactly this type of pasta. All right, so this takes about 8 minutes to go. So we're gonna just turn that heat up and just bring that to a boil. And what's wonderful about this dish is that we're not gonna drain the pasta. The pasta water is going to be part of the sauce along with our mozzarella and what's left of the balsamic olive oil mixture, okay? Oh my God, we're just getting ahead of ourselves, and I'm just gonna like do this with my fingers because I'm just gonna be standing around for the next 10 minutes otherwise. All right, so let's visit our mozzarella. As I mentioned, this is made out of cashews, organic cashews. We make milk out of the cashews, and then we inoculate it with dairy cultures and ferment it, turning it into something that tastes like cheese. Because cashews are very sweet, but by fermentation, we can sort of coax those cheesy flavors out of the cashews, which is what we've done here. And this is wonderful not only for putting on a pizza, but you can put it in a caprese salad, or you can melt it into a lovely sauce, which is what we're going to do today for our pasta. All right, so I'm just going to get this ready while the vegetables are grilling, just by kind of slicing it up. And you can do this by hand as well. You can just take the cheese and just break it up like that if you want to, if you don't want to bother cutting it. It really doesn't make any difference. And one of the things that I found is that people that aren't comfortable cooking, and I hope all of you, because of the pandemic, have been in the kitchen more, cooking more, but a lot of people who haven't done cooking think that it has to be done so precisely. And one of my goals is to sort of liberate people in the kitchen and to give you general rules for cooking so you feel more empowered and you realize that it's okay to break a few rules. Like, you don't have to chop that precisely. You can just break it by hand if you want. All right, so let's take a look at these veggies. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. That is how I want it to look. All right, I'm going to stir the pasta here just to get it going. And we're going to cook this pasta so it's very, very al dente, meaning you don't want to fully cook it in the pot because it's going to continue to cook in the pan when you add everything else. I turned up the wrong burner, by the way, so this isn't boiling. So it may be a little less cooked than we want. All right, so there they go. It's summertime. And the zucchini are sizzling. Yes, they are. All right, look at that. Don't they look lovely? Okay, so we're going to start by chopping up the vegetables to just get them ready. I've already got some prepped up here, ready to go. And we're just gonna dice these up. So it's about about two of these zucchini, maybe two medium zucchini. That's kind of a big one though, huh? I got 5 minutes left to go. And 1 eggplant. And that's about the right size. So we'll get these all diced up, ready to go. And the dish is actually, as soon as the pasta is ready, we're going to be able to throw it into the pan and finish off the dish. Super, super easy. A little bit more. So you can dice these any way you like. You don't have to be super precise about it. And I'm going to take my bench scraper and we're going to transfer these into this pan I have right here. All right, turn my heat on. And now we're going to add the tomatoes that I roasted earlier. These are the ones that came out of the oven. And it's got the garlic in there as well. That's all going into the pan. And we're almost there. We're going to add the mozzarella. That's going in there as well. And finally, we're going to start throwing the pasta in there. So it's still a little firm, and that's okay. I'm going to throw the pasta right in there, just like that. All right, so as you see, I'm not draining it, and I'm going to now add some of this pasta water. I forgot to get a measuring cup for that. Okay, so now I'm going to add about a cup of this pasta water. It's going to go right into the pan there. That's going to become part of the sauce. And I'm going to add the rest of this marinade from the very, very beginning. That's going to add a little bit of acid and kick. And we're going to just start tossing all of this together. Oh, that is looking so delicious. This mozzarella is going to melt down into this, creating a nice, a beautiful, creamy sauce. So I know we probably have only about a minute to go, and the dish is about a minute away from being ready. So when we think about pasta, we naturally reach for that jar of tomato sauce, but I want to get you to think about other ways of making pasta that is absolutely delicious. And now I'm going to throw in the basil. There's several ways to do basil. You can roll it up like this, and you can do a chiffonade. Or you can do it the Italian way. The Italians would never take a knife to basil because they think it bruises it. They only tear basil. So that's what we're doing right here. I did some chiffonade, the way American chefs would do. And now we're just going to tear the basil, throw that in at the last minute. We're going to toss this, and look at this now. The cheese is melting down, as you can see, and the sauce is becoming creamier. If you feel like you need more sauce, go ahead and add a little bit more pasta water, like that. And there, look at that. And now it's beginning to coat every single strand. And you can leave a few chunks of mozzarella in there like that, or you can let it completely melt. And of course, the pasta, as I mentioned, you didn't want to have it fully cooked because it's continuing to cook right here, which is why you want to pull it out al dente. And I think this dish is ready. What does that look like? Shall we plate it up and see? Oh, okay, that presentation could be a little better, but there you go. There's your lovely dish of summer grilled vegetable linguine. Buon appetito.
Thank you so much. I speak on behalf of everyone here. We are all drooling. And we have some serious pro tips that we took away. How to open up the mozzarella was just so easy. The big rock for garlic, and your singing voice is on fire. Thank you so much. And that truly looks delicious. We'll be sharing Miyoko's recipe out after the event, so be sure to look out for it. And she's also providing everybody with a little bit of a coupon to try some of her products. Thank you again, Miyoko. That was fabulous. So just like Miyoko, so many of our Pbfa members wish that they could have joined you all today in person at Kroger headquarters. However, we had to get creative during these unforeseen times and connect in new and inspiring ways. We have nearly 20 plant-based food brands here today who want to introduce themselves to you and share a special exclusive offer for you to enjoy. Each brand prepared a short video so you can get to know them a little bit better, and we're going to play that right now.
Hi everyone, my name is Carrie Carlson and welcome to my Coconut Cloud kitchen. This is where many of my ideas come from. Coconut Cloud is a line of premium dairy-free beverages for on-the-go consumers. We've got everything from indulgent cocos to functional lattes, including turmeric and ginger and matcha. And of course, our creamer line is ideal for anybody who wants the convenience of a dairy-free creamer in an instant format. We hope that you enjoy our products and we look forward to you becoming part of our Coconut Cloud family. Thanks so much.
Hello, my name is Mike Cook and I'm with Dea Foods. Dea was founded in 2008 with the belief that plant-based foods are better for our planet, our health, and animal welfare. All of Dea's products are dairy-free, gluten-free, soy-free, and free from most other allergens. While Dea started in plant-based cheese, we've since evolved into other products such as pizza, frozen desserts, burritos, and other products. Dea believes the purpose should be to pioneer plant-based breakthroughs for the delight of people and the planet. Thank you.
All right, let's go cook. Wow, they color up really nice. This is such a great dish.
Chef-inspired dishes are just one step away with field roast plant-based sausages. They bring bold, craveable flavors to your table.
The Mexican chipotle brings on that smoky note, and then the Italian sausages really brought the bright, herbaceous spices.
Discover new ways to create plant-based dishes worth sharing so you can eat as boldly as you live. Join us as we support chefs to keep the future flavorful. Learn more at fieldroast.com.
Hi, I'm Todd Boyman, co-founder and CEO of Hungry Planet. Consumers love our full range of chef-crafted, 100% plant-based meats, matching the taste and texture of beef, chicken, pork, crab, and Italian sausage. Because of our natural taste and our superior nutritional profile, we have half the calories and a quarter of the fat compared to other plant-based meats. Our meats are a simple one-to-one switch for conventional meat in any cuisine and any recipe. Please check out our website at hungryplanetfoods.com. We'd love to talk further about partnering with you. Thank you.
Hi there. My name is Cameron O'Reilly, and I'm on the marketing team at Kite Hill. Kite Hill is changing the game in the plant-based food space. To understand what I mean, I encourage you to use the coupon provided in the mailer for this event to try one of our almond milk yogurts from your local Kroger store. After that, stay on the lookout for our almond milk cream cheese and sour cream launching in hundreds of additional doors later this year as we continue our mission to revolutionize the category.
Here's the very model of a modern daily family meal, and food IDs are scarce and everything becomes a big ordeal. You want something nutritious that your family will devour, but add one thing that's healthy, the taste will overpower. So only Light Life can return the balance to your every dish. Our food is always made of plants and it is totally delish, cause nobody's ingredients are quite as simple, clean, or real. Light Life is the model of a modern daily family meal. Light Life, ingredients you know and taste you'll love.
Hi, my name is August Vega. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Malk Organics. We at Malk make the cleanest and only glyphosate-certified, residue-free, plant-based milks. We start every batch with the homemade recipe that I made for my son. We are 100% organic, gum-free, oil-free, 6 ingredients or less, We carefully source our almonds to ensure that they are PPO and glyphosate residue free. This is for you, your family, and our environment. We're really taking care and hope you enjoy.
Introducing Munchie Crunchy Protein in 3 delicious flavors: Rockin' Ranch, Chillin' Chipotle, and Salted Caramel. Munchie Crunchy Protein is plant-based, has 16 grams of protein, heart-healthy, keto-friendly, gluten-free, high in fiber, and made with only non-GMO ingredients. Here's your promo code for a 20% discount off of this delicious snack.
No Evil Foods is a company that makes meat from plants. We use small batch, simple ingredients to make flavors and textures that blow your mind. We've always thought of No Evil as more of a movement than just a food brand. Our goal has always been to change the way people think about food.
It's great if people make a lifestyle change and turn to a plant-based diet. It's even better if people do something that has a larger impact and can inspire their community.
Food is how we connect with people and inspire change. Our hope is other people get inspired to find out how they can do that too.
Oh My Dairy-Free Gelato is a certified women-owned business created to meet the need for a deliciously creamy, simply made treat that more people can enjoy.
Oh My is made from premium, really real ingredients, free from the top 8 allergens, making us one of the few dairy-free, allergy-friendly products available. Oh My is non-GMO, project verified, and we're proud to be one of the first companies to use the certified plant-based logo. We're excited to introduce our new lower sugar line so even more people can enjoy.
At Oh My, we're in it simply for the smiles.
Introducing Ozo plant-based protein. Finally, a flex option you're gonna talk about. Now you can make your chili non-carne. So good your buns will thank you. For people who love food, it's Ozo good. Taste the good in life.
Hi Kroger team, I am Sharon Gregory, creator of Nacho No Cheese. Nacho No Cheese is the only shelf-stable, almond-based cheese alternative dip on the market that herbivores and carnivores go nuts for. These are the ingredients in my plant-based dip. This versatile spread is non-GMO project verified and has no gluten, dairy, added sugar, and soy. We invite you to flip your dip and try our 3 shockingly delicious cheesy flavors: hot, classic, and tangy. Thank you.
Juicy, tasty, and satisfying. Is this vegan? Because I'm a vegan and this does not taste vegan, but it's vegan.
Hi there, I'm Peter Dart from the UK. I'm the Chief Growth Officer of Violife Vegan Cheese, and we make amazing cheese from coconut oil that melts and spreads and slices and shreds just like regular cheese. We have a bunch of different products like mozzarella shreds, cheddar slices, parmesan wedges, and feta blocks. And we've been perfecting these recipes for over 20 years in Greece, where they're made. You can now buy Violife in grocery stores around America and even online at violifefoods.com. Give us a try. You'll see why everybody is raving about our products. Welcome to the Violife.
At Wayfair, we believe we make the best plant-based foods on the planet. We start with organic whole beans and organic oats, and we make them into these wonderful products. Would you believe that these are free of the top 10 allergens? They like it. They like it. And I love it. Wow. But don't believe me. Taste and see for yourself.
All right, awesome. We'll be definitely sharing out exclusive offers from every single one of those brands today that you saw. And now we're going to switch gears to plant-based industry trends. We will be discussing the recent findings of the Kroger and Pbfa plant-based meat case study with 4 panelists. We have Julie Emmett, the Senior Director of Retail Partnerships from Pbfa. Julie develops opportunities for Pbfa member companies and retailers to help grow plant-based food sales through strategic merchandising initiatives, education, data analysis, research, and marketing. We also have Marcellus Harris, who is the Assistant Commodity Manager of Poultry for Kroger. His current role is to grow sales with fresh poultry while driving innovation by working closely with 8451, analyzing sales trends and partnering with suppliers. We also have Jessica Mahan, who is a lead business development consultant at 8451. Jessica connects association boards, product licensors, marketing and media agencies with leading customer data and insights. And we also have Eric Wolf, who is a director of retail merchandising and strategy for 8451. In his current role, he helps clients identify areas and processes where insight can be infused to make better business decisions. So I'll let Julie and the team take it from here.
Thank you, Jen. Such great acts to follow. Thank you all for attending. So sharing plant-based trends and specifically the results of the plant-based meat research with you all is incredibly exciting, and we truly value our partnership with you. Before we share the plant-based meat study, we'll briefly take a look at the size and growth and the implications of plant-based foods as a whole. And it is particularly important as it is this data that led us to explore the possibility of a control store research project for plant-based meat. So we'll begin with who is the plant-based shopper, plant-based food shopper. This shows a continuum from the omnivore to the vegan, with flexitarians being the primary shopper target. So vegans and vegetarians combined represent 6% of the population. As shoppers continue to focus on their health as well as the environment, there has been a significant shift towards those who identify as flexitarians. So flexitarians are those who are reducing their consumption of meat and dairy or choose to eat it only occasionally, and they account for 1/3 of the population minimally. The remaining 65% omnivores eat a wide variety of foods, including plant-based. So both the shopper and the category are now considered mainstream. They're no longer a niche category. And as Marcellus and Jess will elaborate on shortly, they kept the flexitarian in mind for this research, and including those who are just starting their plant-based journey, as well as those who are more engaged. So looking at the shopper more closely, both millennials and Gen Z are driving growth of plant-based foods. So these combined generations not only care about their health, but they also care about the environment and animal welfare. 79% of Gen Z already eat plant-based meat 1 to 2 times per week. And when asked, they said that they would definitely consider committing to a plant-based diet, which is really pretty amazing. The oldest age of Gen Z generation is 23. And so often I hear parents that became vegan because of their teenage kids, me being one of them. And so while they may not have direct buying power, they certainly have influence on those who do. So what we're looking at here is the size and growth over time of plant-based foods. So the data we're presenting and looking at today, it's custom data and represents a comprehensive account of grocery retail sales of plant-based foods which replace animal products. And this includes plant-based meat, milk, all other dairy, eggs, meals, condiments, and tofu and tempeh. And this is 52 weeks ending December 29th, 2019. We do obtain our data from SPINS, our data partner, and includes multi-outlet, including as well as their proprietary channels for natural and specialty. But Pbfa does code this data along with GFI based on the certified plant-based certification definition that Jen was referring to earlier. So it is custom data. So if you see to the left that there's been tremendous growth over the past 3 years. It's grown 29% since 2017. And when we look on the right, it's just in the past year, plant-based foods as a whole grew 11.4% compared to total food, which grew 2.2%, more than 5 times faster than total food. So this is a breakout of each of the plant-based foods categories and their share of their respective category as a whole. So you can see here that plant-based milk has a 14% share of total fluid milk. And on the other hand, plant-based meat has a 2% share of all packaged meat. When you include random weight, it's actually 1%. And the remaining categories also have a smaller share of their respective animal-based categories. And so the point here really is that as plant-based categories reach their potential share, this represents billions of dollars of growth for plant-based foods. So how do we reach that potential is through optimal merchandising, which we'll be talking about shortly. So again, by category, plant-based meat is leading the absolute dollar volume by a significant margin. You can see here plant-based meat contributed $146 million of absolute dollar volume growth last year. So moving into 2020 data, in light of the pandemic, we wanted to better understand the relevance of plant-based foods, and we learned it is now more relevant than ever. So in May, Pbfa published the total US weekly trend for plant-based foods from January to the latest data available at that time, which was through April 19th of 2020. So we compared it to total food and total category sales. So total plant-based foods began the year more than 50% stronger than it ended in 2019. So that, before we even got into this environment that we're in now. So when panic buying hit in mid-March, plant-based foods peaked at 90%, strongly outpacing total food sales, which is not surprising considering the relative size of each. However, most importantly, plant-based foods grew 27% post-panic buying and continues to grow stronger than total food, really demonstrating that consumers are turning to plant-based foods during this time. And additionally, plant-based meat spiked at 148% during panic buying, much stronger, 50% stronger than animal-based meat. And again, and really importantly, post-panic buying, plant-based meat grew 34%, almost 2 times that of animal-based meat. So what we see, this is a study of 1,000 shopper interviews during the last week of May. And so we see here, not surprisingly, which is wonderful seeing this cooking demo to help us all, as we cook more at home. So 73% report eating more home-cooked meals, 65% are reporting that they're eating healthier overall, and 34% are reporting that they're eating more plant-based foods. Then the Kroger-specific data is even more compelling. So in a Kroger statement for the press release announcing the results of the research that we're about to talk about, I'm just going to read it. So from March to June 2020, Kroger increased its plant-based meat customer count by more than 50% compared to last year at this time. And in addition to customer increases, shoppers are also purchasing more often and in greater quantities than before, which has led to a sales growth of greater than 75% during this time. It's just incredible. So at this level of growth, the question became, what merchandising strategy is best and how can we prove it? Pbfa's goal 18 months ago when we were setting out to find a research partner to be able to inform the industry with evidence-based research about how to best merchandise plant-based meat in the midst of conflicting opinions on behalf of both retailers and brands. So given the massive dollar opportunity, we knew this was really important research. So Pbfa is so grateful to have found an incredible partner in Kroger, the #1 US grocery retailer, leading edge analytic partner in 8451, and the willingness to share the results, not only with the industry, but with the world. Not only did Forbes and Fox Business and Bloomberg pick up the press release, but we just learned that a press release was translated into Chinese for an article there. So as we get into the headline here, as we know, optimal merchandising is usually an interesting question. And in fact, this is a question that Pbfa is asked the most. How do you recommend that we merchandise plant-based meat? So I will now turn it over to Marcellus Harris, who led this research for Kroger.
Thank you, Julie. I appreciate that. So the real sort of crux of why this started is that on the merchandising side, at least, we had noticed that there was a shift just in public consciousness, especially on the heels of the Beyond Meat branded burgers and sausage success. And then on top of that, you had Impossible Burgers, which were experiencing success and customer demand really on the restaurant side of things. And it wasn't just the grocers that recognized this shift, like suppliers were taking notice. And they started presenting us with their answers to Beyond Burger and driving some standalone and in a lot of cases differentiating innovation on their own to try to make them stand out and separate themselves. So on our end, we were already poised to make some changes to our own sets that were more inclusive of plant-based items. So the timing of our meeting with the Pbfa and the proposition of the test was really perfect. And organization with the level of expertise and connection to the plant-based foods industry really made the partnership a no-brainer. And so once we allied our two organizations, the questions we wanted to tackle started to come in a really organic and rapid-fire pace. So like, what happens if we offer a plant-based solution for every meal in one set? Like, would that elevate the sales of plant-based meat overall? And did it impact sales to total meat? And does it draw in new customers and or bring new customers to the category? So those were our really top line questions that we had after we pared them down because they were coming at us from all sides. So the other part of the why was how do we establish, and I guess not so much really establish, but how do we make it more well known that we as Kroger are leaders in the plant-based space, right? And to do that is to display some of the myriad of options that we have in a beautiful, thought-out set that draws attention and can serve as a beacon for customers, not only seeking that product, but those that are just curious as well. So on our side, we partnered with our friends in grocery to dual place some of their items to expand the offerings in the sets that we were going to create. And so this gave us a really unique vantage and opportunity to see how consumers interact with plant-based meat items in different strategies. Is it better to have it in the refrigerated grocery set, or is it better to have it in the meat department, or does it matter at all? Like, what does it really do to a customer's perception of how Kroger interacts with plant-based foods if we change that up? And so that was a really important part of what we were trying to figure out. The test itself was actually conducted in 60 stores in 2 divisions, Central and King Soopers, and it lasted for 12 weeks. It was supposed to be longer, but as some of you may know, COVID-19 pandemic did present a slightly disruptive force. And thankfully, the brilliant minds of our 8451 team added some buffer time to allow for unexpected issues. In addition to the 60 test stores, we also had control stores for comparison so that their meat sets just evolved as they would have naturally, as I mentioned a little bit ago. You know, we had suppliers coming to us with plant-based options of their own. And so what we were going to add in just happened and flowed naturally in the control test stores, whereas we expanded and made a much larger and more present 3-foot set in our test stores to provide us the comparison. Further components of the test included shopper interviews, which I attended in the Central Division and Julie Emmett attended in King Soopers. We created shopper communication to let customers know about the test and education documents for the meat teams in our test stores. We really wanted them to be able to speak to the product that they were selling in terms of usage, cooking, and to be able to have the same level of interaction with the customer that any customer would expect when they have a question at our meat department. Additionally, we did include some audits in the test stores to ensure that we had full compliance at store level, which by and large went over really well. And I would be remiss if I didn't offer a huge shout out and thanks to the Central and King Soopers teams. They were immediately on board with participation when we proposed the idea, and we really could not have done this without their assistance. And part of the reason why we chose Central and King Soopers is because they represented different levels of plant-based understanding and utilization, whereas Central was a little newer to plant-based foods and King Soopers was a little further on the journey. So it was an interesting way to compare and contrast interactions of customers who were newer to the plant-based space versus those who were already familiar and integrated plant-based foods into their day-to-day. And with that, I will hand it on.
Awesome. Thank you, Marcellus. Yes, so ultimately what we set out to understand is, did sales of plant-based meat increase? You know, how is existing plant-based meat in the meat department impacted? Did Kroger capture new customers? And did Kroger maintain existing customers? So the results, the exciting stuff. Overall, we saw that packaged plant-based meat sales increased by 23% across both King Soopers and Central. We also saw a 5% sales uplift for fresh plant-based meat, which includes a larger base, showing statistically significant uplift in the test versus control scores. So in the Midwest region, where more flexitarians are emerging, packaged plant-based meat sales increased 32% in the test versus control. And in the Denver area, which already has a high concentration of plant-based meat consumers, the test also showed impressive results, with packaged plant-based meat sales up 13%. So really, this proved out our hypothesis that there may be a bit more headroom or opportunity in Central or like divisions, where there's a little bit of a less developed market as it relates to plant-based than out West. This really mirrors an assumption we hear a lot about the true emerging flexitarian versus those maybe in Colorado who are already engaged and are seeking plant-based meat already wherever it is in the store. We also measured impact to the natural foods refrigerated vegetarian set and the total animal-based meat department as well. So this test did not significantly impact positively or negatively in plant-based meat or beef, pork, or poultry. So diving into the KPIs that were driving, that ultimate sales uplift, of course, sales, household penetration, and visits were up in both markets versus the control. What was great to see was that the growth was really coming from new households engaging with the set, as opposed to current customers making more trips, trading up, or buying more items per trip. So this could include, of course, new households to Kroger, but most likely these are households new to plant-based in general. All right. And then, as Marcellus mentioned, we also conducted shopper interviews. So we wanted to make sure we actually heard from our customers. So we interviewed 16 shoppers across both markets who are along different stages of their plant-based journey. So we talked to heavy plant-based meat buyers, we talked to medium and light plant-based meat buyers, and opportunity households. So those who are not currently buying plant-based meat, but are interested in doing so. The goal was to understand shopper reaction to placement and in-store signage as well. What we heard was that shoppers with multiple diet preferences in the household liked that they could easily grab their plant-based and animal-based meat in the same section. So we heard things like, it definitely makes it easier. It's all right here. And if I'm looking for plant-based food, I only have to look in one place. Shoppers did also ask about organization by form versus brand. So it's actually easier to compare when you're looking at form versus by looking, at one brand at once. Many were surprised and delighted by the number of brands and options within the set. So introducing them to new innovation they may not have already known existed. So a lot more variety was discovered. We heard things like, I'm surprised by the number of flavors and variety of sausages and deli slices. Last but not least, some additional feedback we heard was around more awareness and placement. So consumers wanted to see where the section begins and ends to avoid mistakenly grabbing an animal-based option. So we learned that signage we currently have is not as much just an awareness play, but it's important to be used for navigation and finding the set. Comments we also heard around awareness recommendations out of store included leveraging the Kroger app, personalized coupons, recipe mailers, and circulars. So a lot of great learnings with the test, phenomenal results that we're quite excited to share out today. So appreciate the time to share out this test, and I'll pass it back to Julie to wrap up.
Thank you. Thanks, Jess. That was great. Okay, so as we talked about earlier, this is just a quick wrap up. We were just amazed at how many outlets picked up. So 33 media outlets picked up this, the results showing how much interest and how much the industry appreciates and is hungry for this information. So we had Forbes and Food Business News as a couple of examples, and trade publications. On the next slide, you'll see Progressive Grocer and Supermarket News, all really emphasizing how important this research is to not only to Kroger, but to the entire industry. So just want to make sure that we save time for questions. I know we don't have a lot of time, but we definitely want to hear from you to answer any more questions. This was, like we said, about a year and a half worth of work condensed down into 15 minutes. So if you have any further questions, but yeah, I think this has been just a great opportunity. So thank you again so much. It's just really, really great to be a part of this. And wonderful to see all the excitement and commitment on behalf of all of our members and again of your partnership. So the comments, can you remind me, are we going to be handling Q&A through the chat or through?
Yeah, we haven't seen any specific questions on the presentation in the chat, but if anyone has any, feel free to jump in or to type it in the chat.
And we'll be sending out this presentation to everyone, so you'll have this information.
So I guess if there's no questions, you definitely have the opportunity to continue to reach out to us after we send the email, and we can follow up with everybody individually. And I just want to give an appreciation to Julie, the Kroger team, 8451, for sharing today's research. This was incredible, and all of our Pbfa member brands that were a part of this event. I'm going to pass it back to Anne to close out our day.
I'm going to ask. I do see that there's a question. I'm going to just ask. There were a question about if there are other categories in the works. Great question. So we have received a lot of questions from member brands, companies that make plant-based foods. Very interested in focusing on cheese research for cheese merchandising, and very strong interest actually, and remains to be seen. We're wrapping this up now and definitely taking that into strong consideration for sure. Yeah, so thank you for that question.
And there was one more that was just added. Do you foresee a world where there are plant-based options right next to all the animal-based foods throughout the grocery store?
Based on our learnings, and I want to make sure that Eric, I know you're going to take some of these questions. Eric Wolf was instrumental in this research, and so I'll let you chime in, Eric, if you'd like to. But based on the vast amount and depth of what we learned in this study, there was a lot of feedback asking, okay, is this going to be integrated into the individual sections? And so that question's already being asked, and we foresee it as we talk to manufacturers, to retailers, to other experts in the industry. That's where we're heading. And you can even say that this potentially is a transition. Looking at this merchandising sets, a standalone is addressing the current volume, but we can see with this growth, it's rapidly changing and growing. So then it makes the most sense to then be next to their animal-based counterparts.
Well, if other questions come up, feel free to reach out via email to Marcellus or myself. We'd be happy to help get those questions answered. And we will be sharing the presentation, product offers that our suppliers have been so generously included, and Miyoko's awesome recipe. So hopefully everyone will be able to try it. If you do try it, let me know what you think. It looked really good. Yeah, any final questions or comments from anyone? I really appreciate all the work from the Pbfa to help put on today's event. You guys were critical to pulling this off, so thank you.
It's our pleasure. We're happy we could be part of this.
Well, thanks everybody. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.